Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night, potentially, everyone. Ron Schleck, Matt Wilson, and special guest Renee Sullivan. Not so special guest Renee Sullivan.
Well, special, but
Special, different kinds. She's special to us. She's wearing her
very
mood
special.
ring, everyone. We're going to inquire about the mood ring after we get started to try to gauge how we're doing on this, since she always gives us a little bit of a critique. Another episode of Figuring It Out. This time, we're going to talk a little bit. I want to get the title correct because Matt sunk so much time into this after last Thursday or the week before when we didn't have the working title. Home office challenges. We talked already during this quarantine lockdown period about some of the new skill sets that we found ourselves learning, things that we got into, whatever it may be. Everybody's having these different challenges with actually working from home. Matt has a couple funny clips potentially to share, or at least a link maybe that we can throw up on the screen to show what really sparked this conversation. But that's really it. So I don't know, Matt, if you want to kick that off, or if the kids in the background will be screaming and you won't be able to get this done, or Renee, if the land manatee, your dog, Ted, is snoring so damn loud that we can not have this conversation. But it's up to you guys. What do you think? How do we start this off?
I think, I can't show what really made me say we have to do this because it has to do with some real live people and I'll just say affiliated with some family members that I wouldn't want the potential negativity coming out around it. But suffice it to say, if you've ever seen the commercial for that insurance company where there's like people too far zoomed in or you see like half a head or whatever it is, it was a real live, like actual serious thing having to do, I'll just say government. And that all happens in multiple meetings. So that made me think.
I remember seeing somebody with only like maybe their eyeball up.
Forehead up, but all of her ceiling. I mean, the entirety of her ceiling, you got every
one person taking the call from a basement. Completely. It wasn't bad, but the fly spirals, sticky spirals
in view
were hanging down in view. And then we actually, during that same video, you had pointed it out, had somebody that a little bit older, maybe got tired. It was a long meeting, but actually got up. The Zoom was.
Oh, and Ron froze. That would be great. This just shows you how realistic this is. We're not cutting it.
This is outstanding.
So what Ron's trying to say, maybe we'll come back once his internet stabilizes, is the gentleman, you're back now, I think. But
I think I'm back. My distractions are like person distractions. Every kid getting on gaming systems or streaming videos all at the same time.
Sure. And I have that with, two little kids that would, love to play YouTube videos and their little video games. So it's not quite as bad as your intensive games, but where we were going with that one was the one guy had a spare bedroom. We've seen that before. No problem with that. You got what you got, but he laid down on the bed in the middle of a very serious meeting. So, a little bit of a different thing.
Little camera etiquette is necessary, right? Right. So I work out of my bedroom just to get to the farthest places in my house. And I have a pretty big bed, right? But I usually have to worry about the animals in the view.
I particularly
think one meeting you had like little paws just sticking up.
Paws laying like in the air. The dogs.
I usually try to shift my body just to cover them, right? But you know what? The bandwidth is a big deal. It is a big deal. Like you're in the middle of a conference call and all of a sudden you see yourself and it says to you, poor, signal or poor internet signal. And I'm like, oh God, this is going to happen.
Yeah. The other thing that I've struggled with is when you get in, because everyone is 100% virtual or largely 100% virtual, they don't have a problem stacking meetings. Now that still happened when we were physical, but at least if you had like a building or you were bouncing back and forth. But I've been, and we've all been in meetings, and I know the world's smallest violin plays for me when I bring it up to, my colleagues here. But, you're in back-to-back meetings. Like, when am I supposed to use the bathroom? Just someone tell me. Like, do I have 30 seconds anywhere? Because then if you're late, they're like, oh, well, it's a virtual meeting. You can't even be on time. Like, no, I want to be on time, but, you know, I'm a human being. So,
Yeah.
Yeah, this is certainly unscripted. I had the light above me over here. I had, like a month ago, we were on a serious call with clients and stuff, and there's a stink bug circling it. And I'm thinking to myself, like, I could pull this together. Nobody can see that. Didn't it just land on me? Now is everything in my power not to lose my collective mind. That sucker is crawling on me. And I'm like,
yeah.
in the middle of a meeting. I'm sure they were thinking to themselves, like, what's her problem? Well, that's
Yeah.
my problem.
Last week I came back from a lunch break, and it was perfectly timed on a lunch break, but a tree had fallen, had gone through the fence onto the deck and onto the house. And I had to be back at 1:15, you know, specifically everything came back on at 1:15. And at 12:55-ish, I watched the tree fall on everything systematically. And I looked out, I'm like, I guess I'll deal with that later. I got to get back on the call, and everybody gets back on. It was like, so how was everybody's lunch? I was like, and then the power went out. So the power went out. I actually had to rejoin by phone. So it was a day filled with figuring out how to actually connect. And then at that point, it was even more fun because where I work out of my desk is in the basement, which has it's not the greatest cell phone reception. So then I was walking around the house trying to connect via the video Zoom in my work stuff, you know, doing one of these. It was like the old Verizon, can you hear me now commercials, right? And then I found a connection, and I was on that video call for a little bit longer in my daughter's room, like looking out the window with no air conditioning or anything. So it got a little bit hot, but you know what? It's the beauty of the technology as well. We can connect via multiple modalities, and the show continues, right?
Yep, it does. It definitely does that. I always love the lighting challenges. You know, my screen goes to sleep and I'm in the dark. People are like, what happened? It's like, it's nothing. No lights went off. Nobody got hurt.
I look like I look less orange.
You look like the cloud in the background. That's always kind of nice.
Here I kind of, and then look, I go to like a normal shade.
Oh,
Get somebody creeping on you here, talking about home office challenges.
Who just shows up?
Yeah, never a dull moment at home, is it? No, hey, girls.
And you're fighting. All right, scram.
Move it. Go. Bad girl.
And you know what? Somehow we still managed to get work done.
What are we gonna do, Daddy?
Yeah, we get some serious work done. I always
All right,
love.
scram.
I love the kid interruptions. I love the toilet flushing. Hey, you cannot deny that. You know, you can't mute that fast enough. You don't know it's coming, and all of a sudden you're like, oh God, I hope they didn't hear that.
Yeah, I mean, I think we've seen a bunch of news stories that have covered people not realizing that their attire isn't appropriate, let's say. I think we all know that we have doesn't everybody have a Zoom shirt lying around right now that's like just ready to roll? It's my BTB Zoom shirt, just in case I have to look like a normal human being.
I still have not. I mean, for some client calls, I've put on the Zoom shirts. For most case, I've been, my standard.
You gave up a long time ago, though. You gave up before, and like you own the company, so you can do that. But like up until like 5 months ago, I was wearing like a button down on a Zoom meeting because we were at home. I've been at home off and on my entire career because we can work from anywhere. But I still wanted to bring that formality and show respect. And it's like everyone just whatever. They just let it rip.
Yeah. T-shirts, whatever. It works.
Yeah. And I'm sure we're all dressed appropriately from, say, the waist up.
Yeah.
I have my free hug shirt on.
Oh, there you go. That's perfect.
Which we can't see because you are bad at.
You're right.
Free hugs.
Good
Bad
stuff.
Background.
Good stuff.
I blend in.
So we got kids, we got dogs, we have neighbors, we have trees.
Yep. Natural causes.
Natural. That's what would be on the death certificate. Natural causes.
Yeah, I'll give you one example and then I'll mute. Of course they don't bark. Of course, I got 8 million of them and not one bark. Ted.
Yeah, yeah, that was there we go.
The herd is alert.
Yeah, you have like a whole
I'll
cat.
mute.
There we go. So we lost Renee, kinda.
A delayed reaction. It's a delayed reaction. They didn't hear it quite. It took a while for it to travel
They're
through.
older.
They're
Yeah.
still howling. Oh
They're
God,
older.
can't make this
Yeah.
stuff up.
At first, I was worried they weren't going to fire on cue, but they did.
They didn't actually. It was a delayed reaction. It's like one set the others off.
Yeah, I think the final gripe I'll bring up is that I've had this chair for like 12 or 13 years at this point. It was like a $200 Staples chair. No plug. I get nothing from them. But like I've been looking at chairs for like 3 or 4 years now, saying like one of these days, I'm like, I think now I might spend that like $1,200 on the steel case chair because fully adjustable.
Yeah, but now they're like really hard to come by because everyone.
Probably.
That's right.
And whatever.
That's right.
Like I have my standing desk, the one that's adjustable, right? And I paid like, I don't know, I think it was like $400 or something, but I got like, it's a nice big work surface, has a few monitors and has enough room for me to spread out. And I kind of laughed about the whole thing because I've had this thing for, man, probably 2014, 2013 maybe when I got this. And then I look at my office chair that I've been using since about the same time. And I actually bought it from a company that I used to work for like years ago when they were getting new furniture and they gave the employees a chance to like buy office furniture. So I was like, oh, I'll buy a chair. Like the kids had desks, you know, the kids were littler at the time. I think I bought like 4 of the same, like kind of not dingy, but like, you know, they're almost like more like conference room type chairs.
Right.
And it's not a big chair, but it's so funny because it's still super comfortable. So I'm like, well, I paid $20 for the chair. And I think the same thing. I'm like, I should get like a legit like office chair because I do sit in it a lot. I'm like, but this one's still pretty comfy, I guess. It's like a broken in recliner at this point.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Oh,
My wife
buckle
offered
lounger.
up hers, which is the same model. And I'm like, no, like this one's been worn in for me. Like I'm going all new and like super sweet, or no, I'm sticking with this thing.
You get your butt groove.
Yeah.
It's like a regular chair.
We leave the butt groove down. Let's leave that off.
All right. Well, I don't know if there's anything else, folks, but I think we talked about some of the fun and Ron's frozen again.
I know. I just saw that. Well, we'll do my mood ring. Fade to black, just like my.
Oh, it looks a little bit lighter now.
It looks a little lighter.
Blue.
Yeah. Yeah. It's
So I
dark
think for
and cold
next
like my
week-
heart.
For next week, those that might tune in or later this week, depending on when we do it, we're going to get a little bit more serious in the fun we've had today. Talk about before and after, during and after the assessment. Before and during the assessment. But last time, a couple weeks back, Ron and I talked about after the assessment. Help organizations prep, get ready for their first assessment, get a little bit more super serious now.
All right. Super serious. Good stuff.
Super serious. That's where we play best.
That said, Ron, you want to take us out?
No, I really don't. You do it because you guys keep saying I'm freezing.
You are.
I'm
So thank you, everyone. We'll see you later this week. Take care of yourselves and each other.